This is crazy. We've talked extensively about how Bidenomics is a terrible term. Well, now they're going to remind us about shrinkflation. And rather than blame his policies, which are responsible for higher prices, no, Joe Biden is not going to blame himself, obviously. He's going to blame the companies that make Tostitos and everything else. And he's going to say, cut it out. Watch. Here's a snippet of shrinkflation.
The Super Bowl Sunday. If you're anything like me, you like to be surrounded by a snack or two while watching the big game. You know, when buying snacks for the game, you might have noticed one thing. Sports drinks bottles are smaller. A bag of chips has fewer chips, but they're still charging it just as much. And as an ice cream lover, what makes me the most angry is that ice cream cartons have actually shrunk in size, but not in price. I've had enough of what they call shrinkflation. It's a ripoff. Some companies are trying to pull a fast one by shrinking the products little by little and hoping you won't notice. Give me a break.
Very bizarre.
His policies are the reason things cost more. And rather than jack up the price, what they're doing is he's absolutely right. The manufacturers are making smaller amounts of things inside the same packages, but they are his policies. It seems tone deaf.
What do you think?
I think it's an absolute. They're trying to make him look younger with the best background. You hear all the different things that they want him to do. They want him to be out with the people, talking to people that need insulin, or talking to people that are victims of inflation. And now they're talking about not seeing him walk anymore.
Right.
They say, let's keep him in seats.
Right.
So when you see him, you don't have to watch him shuffle. So that is supposed to make him look in tune, in touch, just like everybody would be in an open theater with red seats background talking about snacks.
I thought it was very bizarre because he's just telling, like, when you open the bag of potato chips, it's not full anymore. And
Flair.
But it was just bizarre. There was no solution to it. It's just him saying he hates shrinkflation.
So I watched all the shows, and everything was just focused on Joe Biden getting a bad deal from Robert Hur, who had no business writing a thorough report, and he's a partisan hack. Except, of course, he was appointed by Merrick Garland, and we're supposed to leave the Department of Justice separate from politics. We forgot about that. But one thing we have not forgot about is polling the American public about what they are thinking about the President of the United States. Republicans and Democrats, 86% of adults think he's too old for another term. 73% of Democrats thinks he's too old for another term. Excuse me, where's the spin there?
Almost 3 out of 4 Democrats think he's too old. And even Robert Hur when he released the documents about the classified documents that were found in Joe Biden's garage. He was an elderly man with poor memory, didn't remember when his son died.
Yeah, and so in essentially in unison with these bad polls, you've got the New York Times came out with 3 op-eds over the weekend, one by David French, who said, yes, Biden's age matters. The one thing he can't change is his age. Maureen Dowd talked about when Joe Biden yelled at the reporters, pushing back at the image of a crotchety grandpa. He came across like a crotchety grandpa. And then Ross Douthat said, the question is not if Biden should step aside, it's how. And what he suggests is Joe Biden goes ahead and he gathers delegates right up to the DNC in August. And then he goes, you know what? I'm not going to run. And next thing you know, there's going to be a fight. That way he doesn't have to get into trouble with not endorsing Kamala Harris, who would lose to Donald Trump, they say. So don't be surprised if he takes some of this advice with a grain of salt.